Have you ever wanted to rule the world but be cute as hell while you do it? Then have I got the game for you. Little King's Story, a game about world peace, through world domination. Because who says you can't teach the ways of peace with excessive aggression? Looking at you, Gandhi. Take the reins of King Kurobo. Oh my god, he's so fucking cute! Look at him! I mean, I normally hate children, but this kid's adorable. Who's the little tyrant? You are. Who's gonna commit genocide?
You are.
Anyway, the game starts with Kurobo finding some rats in his home. After chasing them out of his home and into the forest, he finds a magical crown that gives him the power to command people and rule as king of Alpoko. Too bad Alpoko is a tiny-ass little podunk kingdom with almost nothing in it and citizens that don't do anything. So Kurobo's first mission is to whip his kingdom into shape and expand its borders. This is done by adventuring into the wilds to pilfer natural resources and kill off its natural inhabitants since they have the gall to try and exist in this world without the approval of the king. As you murder your way through nature, you'll collect items that you can sell when you get back home to collect the game's universal currency, Bull. Because as we all know, the only thing powerful enough to conquer or unify the world is that sweet cash money. If you're the collecting sort, you'll love this part of the game, as there's always something to destroy and sell off. Is there a hole in the ground? Dig in it and find some treasure. Some bush nearby? Kick the shit out of it, then treasure. See a garbage can, a well-accepted icon for refuse and things of little to no value? Holy shit, treasure. There's some sort of primal, greedy joy I get for exploring the corners of each area and collecting anything of value, so this is great. The problem is, the natural world is full of evil creatures that want to stop your righteous and holy quest to claim the world for yourself. Overcome this by commanding your pawn's citizens into fighting for you. As for how the combat and exploration works, imagine Pikmin meets cumbersome chess? Let me explain. As you expand the kingdom, you get the ability to build more and more different buildings that let you give your citizens different jobs, which provide different functions in the wild. You've got soldiers for fighting, farmers for digging, archers for arching, builders for building, and so forth. You have to juggle between the different jobs that are best suited for the situation at hand. When you have the correct job, you throw your citizen at whatever obstacle is in the way. In the form of combat, you just end up mashing the throw button as hard and as fast as you can, getting as many of your guys to pile up on the enemy as possible. When the enemy is about to attack, you'll see puffs of smoke rise from their head, at which point you should withdraw to avoid damage. The problem with this is that you have to shuffle between all of your jobs to get back to your warriors. This means that the more jobs you have, the harder it is to continue the offensive. You have to just mash the organize button until you get back to warriors. And God help you and the poor fools who follow you if you click one too many times, because you'll just have to go all the way back around as your citizens panic and just run around trying to please you. This doesn't ruin the game by any means, but it does get annoying. Now, to the story. Simply expanding the kingdom is not enough for the ravenous little king. He must also ensure that the other kings cease to exist, which means war. Now, war means going directly to the enemy king's doorstep and fighting them head on because fuck subtlety, I'm Kurobo, bitch! The first king you face is the Oni king. Pretty straightforward fight, just pile enemies on him until you beat him. Second is Dovrik, the drunken king. He vomits fire, ice, and, well, vomit. Aside from that, pretty standard. Then the kings get weird. Enter Shish Kababu. Rather than a straight up fight, you have to play pinball with this dude's fat ass, causing him to burn calories and shrink, so that you can impale him on a fork and cause this to happen. Next is King Omelette. He sits inside a giant egg and makes you go through a weird quiz. Upon completion of this quiz, you find him contemplating the deeper questions of life on the toilet, which, I mean, come on, we've all done at one point or another. Then there's King Long Savage. He sits atop a mountain coated with his facial hair, which, ew. To beat him, you just have to go to the top of the mountain he is on, which is bullshit, because he has these weird hair tentacle things that one-shot kill your party, and the only way to defend against them is to hide in a small cave next to them, which is bugged in the Steam release. This battle took me quite a few times to complete because of this bug, since I'd get to these bullshit tentacles and lose most of my party. Anyway, by sheer luck, I get to the top of the mountain with like 1/10 of my original party, and find that I simply have to have enough citizens to be taller than he is at the end. After that is, no shit, TV Dinner of the Broadcast Kingdom. This battle's pretty interesting. You have to find where he is on the large world map on the ground by the clues he gives you. The problem with this is I am uncultured white trash, so geography is not my strong suit. If you're correct, the king himself appears and you can pummel him for a bit. If you're wrong, which I was a lot, you get punished. One of my favorite punishments was fucking knives everywhere. When you defeat him, you find him just sort of sobbing in front of a TV before disappearing. And now the last, but certainly not least in creepiness, Jumbo Champloon. He is this thing. He speaks in gibberish and is made from a vacuum cleaner and various other pieces of junk. He's terrifying. His fight consists of beating him up and making sure his minions don't give him candy to heal him. About a third through the fight, his head just pops off and is replaced with this weird cardboard chicken head that shoots lasers. Wow, that sentence. Anyway, the biggest problem I had with this fight is that the smoke puffs that have appeared throughout the rest of the game to warn you of danger just don't appear here. So I end up taking damage since I can't tell when he's going to attack. I'm almost positive this is a bug in the Steam port. Another thing that's annoying that isn't a bug is this friggin' marquee that is hovering over you for a large part of the battle. It makes it difficult to see your health, which is important to keep note of since KAWAII can only take 3 hits before he dies. Either way, after beating all of the kings, you're supposed to go into space and reach God to stop these earthquakes that have been happening ever so often because they are threatening to destroy the world. After a short minigame where you fly through space, you pop out of a cardboard box into what looks to be a child's bedroom. Then a giant rat boss appears. So, let me be honest. I didn't beat the game. Not the Steam version anyway. Little King Story was originally a Wii game that was later ported to Steam. And let's be frank, the Steam version is not good. The frame rate is terrible, bugs hinder the experience, and it just isn't as fun when you have to slog through the game. I attempted the final boss, which took a long time to get to, and found the whole thing is littered with bullshit instant death attacks and obscenely long invulnerability periods for the boss. It takes what feels like 5 minutes of running around to get even a chance to attack. Factor in that directly before this is 3 other bosses, just like this, then a 4th fight against the 3 previous bosses, and sprinkle in some low frame rates and a heaping spoon of tedium, and you got yourself one homemade bullshit pie. Delicious. So, I just gave up. Don't worry, I did beat the game on the Wii release, and the ending isn't spectacular. Turns out your whole world was just a gang being played by the real KAWAII, and the real KAWAII meets the fake one somehow, then credits. That's it. It may seem like I'm being unfair to the game, but that's just because I never really delved into my issues with it. Fighting in the game isn't bad, but it's not exciting either. It's kind of boring after a while, and kind of annoying if you use a controller since it's hard to aim. Not to mention that so many enemies have moves that instantly kill your citizens in large quantities. Most of the time, the combat just seems unfair. Also, the game just doesn't run well. At some of the lowest settings I could set, the best I could hope for was 20 frames per second. And most of the time, it was worse. I mean, look at this. 15 frames per second. No. This all just causes the whole game to start to feel like a tedious grind, and the fun slowly starts to fade. Don't get me wrong, Little King Story is a great game, just with a bad port. Exploring is fun, and the fact that you can collect loot almost anywhere makes it seem rewarding to actually take your time with the game, which keeps you playing. Not to mention that building up your kingdom and army is pretty fun, and it's also pretty fun to see the new crazy characters the game's going to throw at you. So I recommend the game, but not the Steam port, not now anyway. I'd wait until the Steam version gets fixed up, or even go so far as to buy it for the Wii. A used copy is only about $20. So if you're interested and you own a Wii, or if the Steam release has been fixed by the time you watch this, I'd definitely give the game a shot. So, that's that. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you liked the video, be sure to give it a like and maybe subscribe to see more stuff from me in the future.